boys enjoyed brewing beer, enjoyed working together. And in 1950, as a celebration of the enjoyable 50 years they'd had together, John and Hugh decided to bring out a new beer. They called their beer Labatt's 50th Anniversary Ale. People liked it, called it 50, and made it what it is today, Canada's most popular ale. Labatt's 50. You can't say beer any better.
Second down, and still the better part of 10 for Saskatchewan, with just under 3 minutes to play in the first quarter at a scoreless ball game at the Olympic Stadium. That's Brewer, the new tight end for Saskatchewan, out around the 39-yard line, and that will be a Rider first down. Randy Rhino made the stop. Well, Brewer from the National Football League camps coming into Saskatchewan. Richardson, of course, their towering tight end on the injured list, as Russ mentioned before, and he's filling in. That, of course, upsets their balance, import and Canadian-wise, at that position.
And Brewer started the first 2 league games with the Chicago Bears this year.
Pass completed by Tommy.
That's Tommy Riemann, ridden out of bounds by Chuck Zapek, up near the first down marker, perhaps a little bit short. Chuck Zapek was hobbling the last couple of games against Toronto, but apparently, as he showed on that play, he has recovered sufficiently to give him full mobility on that leg now.
Well, like a lot of other players in the CFL at this time of the year, you have to play hurt.
Second down and a yard. And there is the first down plunge by Tommy Riemann to the 51-yard line. The Saskatchewan drive will continue with 1 minute and 40 seconds until the end of the first quarter. The only real bid for a score came on a field goal, which was blocked from 51 yards out by Bob McAreedy. And they've been basically at the Montreal end, with the Alouettes having the ball, or near midfield with Saskatchewan in possession of the ball so far in the game. Lancaster 7 for 9 now in passing. Marley McGee will take a loss. Wally Buono, the right corner linebacker, hauled him down, number 39.
Well, what Lancaster likes to get is a running back alone with a defensive linebacker, but number 39, Wally Buono, had excellent position on Molly McGee, 32. He tried to give him a little inside move and go to the outside, but Buono kept him in his sights and pulled him down for about a 4-yard loss.
It was Buono that Leon McQuaid at least felt knocked him cold here at the 5-yard line in a game of violent first half in Montreal last Sunday. There's Brewer, rolled back around the 50-yard line. It's going to be third down, 11 Saskatchewan. Dickie Harris made the defensive play that time for Montreal, as the Alouettes are certainly fired up on defense, but are still struggling with 32 seconds left to mount a serious offense. Joe Barnes, by the way, is back in Montreal and is beginning workouts with the Alouettes, whereas it was thought he would miss the entire season. There seems a chance now he could be around later on for Montreal, and it looks as though they'll need him, and also the injured Sonny Wade. Just away, that punt by McAreedy. This is Rhino. And Rhino was taken down by Cleveland Van around the 33-yard line with Nielsen there as well. Let's check in once again now with Tom McKee.
Well, we've seen quite a bit of Tommy Riemann on the field. Here he is on the sideline since they coughed up the ball. He comes off, takes off his helmet, puts on that peak cap, which has his name printed across the front of it. I don't know whether he's superstitious or not. I do know that he doesn't put it on to keep the sun out of his eyes.
Well, he's so new still, he wants to make sure the other guys know who he is. This is Rick Galvo. The former Calgary Stampeder reaches into the 39. It'll be a gain of 7 for Montreal. Ron Churkus at left defensive tackle on the right side now made the stop for Saskatchewan. And there's the gun at the end of the first quarter. The score is Saskatchewan nothing and Montreal nothing.
Hello, I'm John Huston. When I was making films like African Queen and Treasure of the Sierra Madre, we lived in a world of illusion. Most of us thought there was no shortage to space or energy on this earth. Now we're thinking differently. That's why Chevrolet asked me to look into their new Malibu, a car designed to help save space and energy. It has more front and rear seat legroom and more front seat headroom than last year's Malibu, in a smaller, lighter, fuel-efficient car. The new Chevrolet Malibu in a real world of today, a car for the age of inner space.
The first game of the 1977 World Series comes your way Tuesday night from the home park of the American League champions. Watch CBC Television, your World Series network, for games Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday this week.
Well, there is the story after a scoreless first quarter with Saskatchewan certainly dominating. Montreal did not pick up a single first down in the first quarter. They're going for what could be their first of the game, 2nd and 3 now at their own 39s. Rick Galvos is going to be close. He fought his way out around the 42, and that's where the marker was. They'll have a close look at this one now. Don Croft and Lou Claire containing him for the Riders. There it is, Montreal's first down today.
Max Huber, number 65, getting to play right offensive guard with Pat Bonnet out with a bad leg injury that they thought was not as bad as it was, but as the week went along, they had to make the change at the end of the week because Bonnet just couldn't go today.
He went downhill in workouts all week instead of getting better. Jackson under pressure gets hammered. The pass is complete to Larry Smith at the 47-yard line. But Jackson really paid the price. George Wells popped him just as the ball was released. A gain of 20, and here it is again.
Well, a bootleg fake out here, but Wells didn't go for it, and after he released this ball, we don't see, but as Don said, he really did get hit, but a good call by the official. In our game, you must only come in with 1 foot down in the field of play. In American ball, you have to have both of them down, and the official was right on the line to make that good call on Larry Smith's reception.
And as we saw in either game, if you're a photographer too close to the sideline, you'll pay the price as well. Here's John O'Leary. O'Leary stacked up by Roger Goree, number 37, the former Calgary Stampeder, for perhaps a yard loss on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 11 for Montreal. Mark Jackson, he's getting pressure, no doubt about that, from Wells and Baker principally. Nonetheless, looks very rattled out there, very unsure of himself, and that basically has been the appearance he has given us in his 3 starts for Montreal against Toronto, Hamilton, and again today, Saskatchewan. Young quarterback out of Texas, born in New Mexico. He has an open side and will take the sidelines on a first down. Saskatchewan 32. A 16-yard gain.
Montreal sent all the motion to the left here, and Bill Baker really widened out and took to the outside, but George Wells, the defensive end on the left, or the back side of the play, came to the inside. Barry Randall took him to the inside, allowing number 8 Mark Jackson to run for that first down.
Well, perhaps fearing injury, as Marv Levy might have instructed him, he got out of bounds. He had room to gain more, as it turned out. John O'Leary will throw. It's good to Galvos. The Saskatchewan 9-yard line.
Well, that's what you call using a play to set another one up, because 2 plays earlier they ran the same play. Roger Goree stacked it up for no gain. This time they came in to make the stop. Roger Goree caught in the middle. He threw the ball to Galvos, who made the big first down inside the Saskatchewan 10.
And there's Provost with the tackle. Mark Jackson. No good for John O'Leary. O'Leary in that slippery end zone, extending for the ball and not able to bring it down. And that was his performance at the University of Nebraska, the same school that ex-Alouette Johnny Rogers came to Montreal from. By the way, without Rogers, the Alouette punt returns have been surprisingly strong this year with Rhino and Harris. Jackson for the touchdown. Help the confidence of the young Montreal quarterback.
That's what he needs, Don. From ground level, we're watching go back to throw the ball. He's looking for Peter Delariva on the right side all the way, but Peter Delariva was well covered. And the guy who's really upset with himself was number 31, Luke Clare. He's trying to make the tackle there, but when he came up originally to try and stop Jackson, he fell flat on his face on this wet surface and had to get up and try to throw himself at Jackson and couldn't quite get to him.
There's the point after touchdown, kicked through by Don Sweet. And so Mark Jackson, now with 3 carries, 32 yards, and 1 touchdown, gives Montreal a 7-0 lead here at the Olympic Stadium.
You never know exactly when you'll be glad you bought your winter Michelins. Maybe it'll be on a tough, icy curve, or it might be on a snow-covered hill. But sometime this winter,
Daddy!
You'll be glad you didn't compromise on your tires. And just as glad that we don't.
With Russ Jackson and Tom McKee, as you can plainly see here at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal, and we acknowledge that welcome from the people who operate this beautiful master scoreboard here at the stadium. Tommy Riemann and Paul Williams await this kickoff from Don Sweet. Williams into a crowd and taken down at the 30-yard line by Gary Chow. Mark Jackson with a Montreal touchdown a few moments ago and an 8-yard scramble for an opening in that Saskatchewan defensive lineup. That kickoff return by Williams, 21 yards. So the Riders trailing by a touchdown, led by Ronnie Lancaster, will be starting first down just inside the 30. Another fact on the career of Ron Lancaster. There could be a face guard call because at least 2 Alouettes reached up for the face guard of Tommy Riemann well inside the line of scrimmage.
Don, it could be number 76, Chuck Zapek. He's shaking his head there. Unfortunately, he went headhunting for Tom Riemann as he came around here. Carl Cornell is coming in from the outside. Zapek right there has got him by the mask. And it's usually Carl Cornell, number 72, we've seen recently.
Well, it's because Chuck got to him first.
Could have had a doubleheader if Carl got there. Face mask.
Zapek has no reason to shake his head. Here's Bill Dell.
Face masking, Montreal, number 76. Unnecessary, number 18, Montreal.
And also,
it's a 30 yards, first down.
A roughing call against Dickie Harris. It's a 30-yard walk against the Alouettes. The other flags were for a rough play call by Harris, and I don't think Marv Levy is too pleased. Do you, Russ?
No, he's kept his cool throughout these last few ball games, but there, he was a little upset. It took place right in front of him. The face mask looked legit. I didn't see Harris come in there.
Nor did I. But the officials did, and that's what matters.
Saskatchewan on Montreal 51.
Gabriel Greg War getting a bit of tape on his left hand. First down, Saskatchewan from the 51-yard line of Montreal. A completion and a flag from Brian O'Hara brought it in, and man, it could be a late hit against Montreal. If you heard them booing before, they'll really strike a chorus up now, if that's the case.
Don, you just can't help the other team this much. We make the good reception to O'Hara. Lancaster getting good protection here. O'Hara, number 16, starting in the slot. We have him on isolation. He just curls in behind the linebackers, and Lancaster threw it in low when he makes the reception. And he'll go down, and here it comes. Proudfoot number 23 called for roughing, piling on, and they're going to march another big one off.
Well, you know, you mentioned that
They may
Marlevy is
have
upset.
a Saskatchewan penalty as well.
Got piling on Montreal. Got unnecessary roughness. Saskatchewan, and it's a first down.
First down.
So unnecessary roughness against Saskatchewan and piling on Montreal. The ball stays right there at the 32-yard line. It's first down, Saskatchewan. O'Hara, the intended receiver, in that pond of water out there, unable to bring it in.
Well, I think Ronnie Lancaster threw that one away a little bit, because as he released that ball, number 76, Chuck Zapek, came right in front of number 16, O'Hara. And if Lancaster had thrown that ball where O'Hara might have been able to catch it, I think Zapek might have been down that sideline with Ronnie chasing him.
This is second down and 10. Saskatchewan trailing 7-0 with about 10 minutes to play until halftime. Complete. Molly McGee. The catch made near the 18-yard line, and that will be a Rider first down. Rhino and Crump forced Molly McGee, the former Ottawa Roughrider, out of bounds.
Well, Mazurek and McGee going down this left sideline, and they seem to be working on Vernon Perry's side. Perry going downfield, pushing number 70 Mazurek out of there, and while he's doing that, number 32 Molly McGee turns to the sideline and makes the reception.
Saskatchewan's drive has taken them down to the 18-yard line, and they'll go first down right now. And there's Molly McGee, the top pass receiver, with 63 in this league in 1977. At the sidelines, it is too far for O'Hara. It will be second down and 10 Saskatchewan. 9:37 remaining here in the second quarter. There's John O'Leary at the Montreal bench. Last night, Ottawa with a dramatic last-second victory over the Calgary Stampeders, forcing a second-place tie with Toronto. Toronto in Hamilton tomorrow at Ivor Wynne Stadium for a big Thanksgiving battle. Into the end zone. Too far for O'Hara, being covered by Crump. And this will cue McAreedy for a Saskatchewan field goal attempt on 3rd and 10 as Lancaster fails to take the Riders all the way in. Obviously, O'Hara thought he was free, had a sideline battle the first time, and suggested they go right back to the same play. But the coverage from Montreal by Crump was better. Lancaster overthrew him. That's Levy saying, watch for the fake. No need to. McAreedy, 4-3. And it's now a 4-point spread. A 26-yard field goal by McAreedy makes it Montreal 7, Saskatchewan 3. We have 8 minutes and 53 seconds of second quarter playing time remaining.
The score is now Montreal 7 and Saskatchewan 3.
Well, tomorrow we mentioned the game in Hamilton. Most of the country will see Winnipeg playing Edmonton on CBC. Don Whitman, Frank Rigney, and Ernie Afaganis will be there at Clark Stadium in Edmonton for the Bombers and the Eskimos. John O'Leary battling around the 39 for 4. That game tomorrow, by the way, an extremely big one for both Winnipeg, battling Saskatchewan for second place, and Edmonton, Russ, in terms of their playoff survival. Their 12th game coming up tomorrow, and right now they trail the Bombers and the Western Riders by 4 points.
Well, Huey Campbell, the rookie coach out there in Edmonton, knows what position they are in, and they have to come up with a win, especially if Saskatchewan should win here this afternoon.
There'll be a big crowd at Clark Stadium for that one. Mark Jackson slips through to about the 42, but is going to miss the first down by 3 yards. Jackson seemingly has a little more confidence in many respects, but certainly in his running game now, for the touchdown he scored. Croft and Cleveland Van prevented him from getting a first down that time. So Montreal's punting team comes back into play with 7:52 until halftime. 7-3, Montreal leading Saskatchewan. Walters 17, Williams 27, back for Wally Buono's punt. This is Williams. At the Montreal bench, got a piece of Mark Levy, the equipment table, and a few other things, and he's not very happy about it.
Well, he and Ian Mofford are having a few words because number 10, Ian Mofford, gave him a pretty rough ride after he went out of bounds. Williams coming around the corner here was showing some good speed, but number 10, Mofford, continues to take him right over top of the particular training table, and Marv Levy had to get out of the way. And we'll be back in just a moment.
The 78 Chevy Chevette. A lot more Chevette for a lot less money.
Well, nobody hurt at the sidelines on that exchange out of bounds, and from the 43-yard line, this is Saskatchewan's first down. Tommy Riemann hit hard into Dickie Harris at the 49, got himself about 6 yards.
Well, this offensive Saskatchewan line, Gary Brandt, number 54, the right guard, comes out here and does a good job of turning Chuck Zapek, number 76, to the inside. And that's the best you can ask of an offensive guard coming out on a linebacker, to turn him to the inside, especially somebody of Chuck Zapek's caliber.
2nd and 4 after Riemann's 6-yard gain. Lancaster right down the middle and cannot make it complete. He was taken down by Glenn Weir, number 64, as he unloaded the ball, but it becomes 3rd down and 4 now for the Riders. And they're having trouble making an offensive drive go together.
Both of them down there.
Lancaster, all-Canadian quarterback, outstanding player in the country last year, and that, of course, just deals with a portion of what he did in 1 year, 1976. There's the time remaining, about 6.5 until halftime, and it's 7-3 for Montreal, with Rhino 21 and Harris 18, awaiting a punt from Bob Baccariti. The left-footed punt to Dickie Harris. And Hess reaches the 30-yard line. The ball came free. Saskatchewan has come up with it. It was Sam Holden. As the ball was a gift, it rolled right into Holden's arms, and a big turnover is going to hurt Montreal.
Well, Dickie Harris seemed to hesitate coming up here behind number 21, Rhino, and number 65 will come in now, and he just strips him of the ball, and it rolls right into his hands. And number 65, Big Sam Holden, doesn't get his hands on it too often, but very appropriately here for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, having a first down on the Alouette 28-yard line.
I hope he said thanks.
I don't think he did.
First down. Saskatchewan with a big break here. They can take the lead or they can capitalize on this opportunity. Freeman, short side, out of bounds, near the 26. And a flag thrown late. It appears to be holding against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. If so, it is a senseless penalty because he was almost out of bounds. It could be against Montreal, however. They'll sort it out now.
Legal interference.
It's going to be against Saskatchewan, I think. A 10-yard penalty. Here's Bill Dell.
Holding, 64.
Mike Dirks, caught for holding. That's a big penalty. The ball back now to the 38-yard line from where it's going to be first down over again and 20 yards to go with 5 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the second quarter.
Mike Dirks, number 64, Larry Bird, number 42, the center, and Gary Brandt, 54, the right guard. That's the veteran part of that Saskatchewan offensive line.
Overthrown. Oh, it was almost a gift touchdown for Vernon Perry. With all his speed, the entire left side was open to him, except for the ball.
Well, Tom McGee is getting some help down there, and it's a good thing Tom has that red jacket on today.
It's not wet everywhere here. Hello, how are you? Boom, boom, boom. Ah!
That's a new form of the dance called the bump.
I'll tell you, those guys can never play this game. Look at that. Second down. Marley McGee. He reaches the 30, but that is well short by 12 of the first down. Randy Rhino made the stop.
Well, Don, I was a little surprised there with that second down situation that Ronnie would not have gone for the first down, attempted to get the touchdown, or at least a try at it, because running on 2nd and 20, he was more or less saying, we'll be satisfied with the field goal.
Lancaster, as we look at a portion of this crowd in the area of 45 to 50,000 today, who hit on 4 of his first 4 passes, now has only 1 of his last 6 complete, and McAreedy is in for a field goal try from the 37. He's been good on 1 for the 26 already. And this is wide. And a single point given up right at home plate for the baseball Expos by Randy Rhino. 7-4 now. Montreal leading Saskatchewan by the measure of a field goal. 4:26 until halftime. The crowd today, small by Montreal standards. I think certainly partially the fact the Alouettes have lost 405 is a factor in it. But the miserable weather here is another reason for this crowd being down. That is picked off by Paul Williams. Still going. And out of bounds finally at his own 50-yard line. So Mark Jackson coughs the ball up. Williams brought it back 8 yards, and Saskatchewan will take over again.
Well, from the end zone, we see Jackson with a little fake to Galbo. It's not a great fake, but Roger Gorey, number 37, was coming on from the linebacker spot, forced Jackson to throw on the run as he tried to hit number 19, Brock Ainsley. And number 27, Paul Williams, was right there with him to make the reception and bring it back to give Saskatchewan again another opportunity with a little over 3 minutes to go in this first half.
From the 50-yard line, there's Williams. Brewer has about 8.5 before he's hauled down by Vernon Perry. And part of the equipment, of course, to keep those teeth looking nice and white and intact most of all. Mouth guard, that's Chuck McMahon of Montreal. Brewer, the new tight end, as you see the time remaining, is comp 3 for 28 yards today. His reception this time leaves Saskatchewan about 1.5 yards away. He's from Mankato State. We'll tell you where that is in a while. They do not get the first down. Good reaction by the Montreal defensive line.